before we get started, I just wanted to take an opportunity to give a little bit of a profile and a shout out to these players who have been with me since 9th grade. Ethan Howard, probably one of the best all-around players on our team, played over 100 snaps for us last year, an all-Trinity League linebacker, and has been contributing on varsity since his sophomore year. Is also a national rugby player as well. One of his defensive teammates is Jonah Laban, an all-Trinity League linebacker and fullback. Got a lot of mileage out of Jonah last year, and he and Ethan are pretty much a big part of our glue on the defensive side of the ball. To my far right, Adrian Tenna. He's a cornerstone of our offensive line, 6'5", 310, solid leader, physical player that will play a huge role in what we do offensively this year. R.J. Reagan, a big-time player for us, started as a sophomore in the Trinity League, which has asked a lot of a young player. R.J.'s had a wonderful spring from a national recruiting perspective, from offers from Oregon, Arizona State, LSU. But as we move forward, it's important for us to look back a little bit on the season. I was really proud of our team and our coaches, the way we led with character and integrity. Not letting our circumstances determine our end. As we move forward, we've had a phenomenal spring, kind of a new identity, on both sides of the ball, graduating a lot of playmakers that were part of our program. One thing about that 2019 class that really helped us as we grow was just the leadership, the work, the determination to make a play. And we're really proud of what they left for us, and these young guys here have embraced everything about our culture. Always thinking about the 2019 season and all the things, we don't worry about what we don't have, we worry about what we have. And these four represent the 75 players with the determination and the grit. And what we found over the spring is that we're a gritty team. We're young, we're hungry, we've got great leadership in just core areas of the program. But for me, it all starts with the mission of the program, to develop competitive student athletes who are men of integrity, accountable to their team, secure in their faith, and prepared for life after high school. That's the ultimate goal, and our numbers always usually speak for that. A four-year graduate from Orange Lutheran in our football program will have over 80 hours of service to society. Our team GPA continues to grow to 3.1. We got players that are embracing everything about our culture. We're not just a separate silo of our school, we're an extension of that ministry. But for us, we just focus on what we have and the grit that we're bringing to the field.
Thank you, Coach. And now, questions for Coach Wesley and the players.
Coach, can you just review some of the new top players you're hoping to fill in offensively, since you lost so many?
Yeah.
From the quarterback to the receiver. Who are some of the people that are going to, or you believe have already earned starting spots, or you figure will be major contributors?
Right off the top, we can start with the quarterback situation. Obviously having the last 2 years, we've had a 3-year starter in the position from LJ Northington to Ryan Holinsky. Right now we have a battle between Logan Gonzalez and Carson Conklin. Carson is an incoming 9th grader, and Logan was a freshman quarterback last year. One thing we know that's certain is one of those quarterbacks will be taking their first varsity snap on Friday night. For us, from a receiver piece, David Tax is probably one of our leaders on that piece. He's a 4-year guy for us. Got a lot of situational experience during the year. Offensive line, that's obviously with Adrian being a 4-year guy for us, we look to that offensive line where you've got a guy like Tristan Webb, who's a rising junior, Jesse Berrigan and Isaiah Manu, both who had significant playing experience under the lights during Trinity League. We had about 7 different rotations at offensive line during the year, but they all got really veteran experience during that time. Some of our younger players, across the board, Colin Chase as a wide receiver, I also have a handful of freshmen that are up right now. There's a young man by the name of Tiger Bachmeyer who had an unbelievable summer with us and is definitely a seasoned wide receiver for us. On the offensive side of the ball, Cooper Vanderhill, about a 600-yard rushing guy last year. He'll be back and with some genuine leadership skills that we have. Defensively with Jonah and Ethan, they bring a lot to the table. RJ is a dynamic athlete that'll play both sides of the ball. Outside of that, I returned guys that had 6 or 7 games under their belt on the defensive side of the ball based on some injuries. Jack Barron, Travis Legeson. We return an outside linebacker, Jared Amasio, who played for us last year. Right now, it's not game time yet, so the kids are still working. We're still trying to get a good identity of where we're at, but I think I could take the definition from spring and early summer. We're a gritty team. We don't quit. They've embraced everything that we've asked from a coaching staff that has embraced their hearts and make sure they're good young men that stand up for what is right.
Can you give me the spelling, because it's not listed on your program, the freshman quarterback?
Yeah, first name Carson, Carson, and Conklin, Conklin.
So he must be pretty good to be competing as a freshman. Does he know he's in the Trinity League?
I think that's the good thing when you have kids that come in, they're already hungry. So they look at the obstacle and they understand what's out in front of them, but he's come out there to compete. Carson's probably about 6 foot, about 170 pounds, 165.
Hey Jason, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Replacing Ryan Helinski is going to be so tough, and Eric mentioned Carson, and you brought up the battle. How do you best prepare these young quarterbacks for Trinity League play? What's the game plan this summer and going into the fall?
The game plan up front is just giving them as many tests as possible. And I'm not talking about paper. I'm talking about when it's 85 degrees and they're on their 79th pass, and we're still asking for excellence. And we're still asking to keep the standard. We're putting them in situations now where they've got to make decisions real quick. I mean, everything is very repetitive, everything's fast, everything's tempo. We work through, when we're tired, some of our most critical strategies just to get them ready for that. I think one of the things that Ryan and the 2019 class has just really left a legacy of work, like what it means to compete and get better every day. So guys like Logan and some of our younger players that saw that, I think that's made a big piece. I know RJ sitting next to me, showing up for practice every day to one-on-ones against Kyle Ford, a JoJo Hawkins. Those are the things that make kids better.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned you're such a veteran team a year ago to now this year's team, a lot of underclassmen. Does that change the way you coach at all?
No, I mean, it's no surprise. You know what your graduation's going to look like, and you know about it right after that last football game where you're at. So the preparation for that is how much we can do and how systematically we can put in installs that can get these guys running real quick. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, we return 7 guys, and that's going to help us out quite a bit. They've become kind of the leadership, and then obviously having an offensive line led by Adrian here, he's really embraced that leadership role. We want to lead up front with Adrian, and the rest of the guys, they've got to fall in. But, systematically, you know what your graduation is going to be. It's high school. You get 4 years.
You obviously a year ago you looked at that offense maybe to lead the way for that team a year ago. Does that mean the defense really is going to have to be the face of this team at least to start out the season, maybe create that defensively?
Yeah, for me, I'm a defensive guy by trade, so I'm always going to lead with the defense to set the tempo, set the culture, set the practice, all those things. So, but for me, we're going to have to control the ball, let our defense kind of take a stand where they need to take a stand, get off the field as quickly as possible. And for me, offensively, it's just for these young quarterbacks and some of the young players that they have is understanding the situations of the game. understanding when we need to manage the middle, understand when we're managing a short field, things like that I think has been a real big emphasis on our coaching staff with these young men.
Hey, Steve Fryer from OC Varsity, Orange County Register. Kind of, Dan asked this question to the Bosco guys and JP or whoever wants to address this. You know, every team in your league is going to be in the playoffs, the way it's set up.
Right.
You know, how does that affect motivation?
I think with our schedule, and I'll pass this over to Jonah to talk about it a little bit. With our schedule, there's no time to sleep. There's no time to be less hungry. I think that's the piece that we always focus on is we get through preseason, we learn, we have early tests. We're blessed to play Corona Centennial again, week 1. So those are games that really give us a test on where we're at as a team. But I'm going to ask Jonah to maybe share a little bit on this.
You know what I mean by that, right? You know, I mean, you know you're already in, so, you know, you get fired up. If you know, like, we got to win this game to get in the tournament, you know, that can get you fired up. But, you know, you already know you're in, so how do you...
Well, I feel like every week, being in this league, you got to be on your toes.
Yeah.
Every week's a competition, so you basically just got to be ready for anything that just comes at you. And with that statement, just going into the playoffs, you already know what's coming at you. You already know who's going to be there and like what's going to happen. So you just got to be on your toes every week and just be ready for the fight. So.
Thank you.
Hey, Adrian, I asked the Bosco lineman what it's like to compete in the trenches in the Trinity League, you know, the anecdotal things. Can you think back to somebody elbowed you or the language they use? What is it like being in the trenches? Because we don't get to hear it. We're in the stands.
I mean, in the trenches, it's grimy, you know. Everything is nice and dirty. I mean, most of the time you have no clue who hits you. You just go after the person that's in front of you. You know, the blocking scheme, you just work your way around it and see who you can lay out.
What is it like, the physicality, the emotion, everything that's going on in the Trinity League?
I mean, you leave everything on the field. If you don't, there's no way you're going to succeed in the Trinity League. It's really competitive, and like with the Mater Days and Boscos, we're all big. You got to be competitive to win.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is for Ethan. Over here. How does the rugby involvement? How does that complement football? And of course, we've heard about rugby techniques and tackling actually being a good way to avoid some of the head injuries that you had in football. How has that worked out for you, and how much do the two sports complement each other?
Well, it helps a lot, as in rugby you need to be super conditioned, always stay in shape. And as you said, the tackling, where as before, like some people in football like to dip their head or lean their shoulder. In rugby, that's a penalty. So now it's like teaches you to tackle right and always try to be formed up, things like that.
It doesn't affect your football. You have enough time.
No, rugby is always in the off season of football. I mean,
But there's sometimes no off-season football nowadays, is what I'm asking you. So your coach lets you go do rugby, you don't have to worry about football.
no, you usually just focus on football, and then when football's over, I can focus on rugby.
Coach, real quick, I've been asking for a while to get more sections to cross over and play each other. You've got one of those games this year with Narbonne. Just if you can kind of mention that. Yeah.
Well, that's an exciting game. I think for us, I mean, anytime you're trying to do a preseason schedule, you're trying to stay as close as home as possible. I think for us, understanding the challenges and it's a different game for us. We haven't played a team like Narbonne. Obviously you can look at their roster and talent and things like that, but I think overall it's a great preparation for us to play someone that we don't have a lot of experience with. So it really, for me, it injects that ability to prepare on Monday, because this is not something they've seen before. So I think there's a lot of positives in playing teams like that that there's not a huge routine, there's not a huge history there, because it really creates some great habits for your ball club to prepare, because they don't know, they haven't had that game before. So we're really excited about that game and really excited about where that leads us as we prepare for league.
Would you like to see that opportunity more to play more city section schools, or maybe I mentioned you have the San Diego section schools. It'd be nice to see that kind of.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, obviously with student athletes and booking games like that, obviously it's connected to a lower level game. So you have to be real cautious of the time, the travels for a Thursday to get your student athletes out of school, which your teachers really love, and be I mean, I started my first year and we played Cathedral Catholic of San Diego. Obviously got to see the 5 freeway and bumper to bumper, and I think that's good wisdom for the kids as they grow on leaving on time. But no, we're really excited about those type of games. I'd love to see more.
Jason, right here.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting trend in football right now. It used to be if you were the first pick in the NFL draft as a quarterback, you might sit for a year. Now you're thrown into the fire. We see Trevor Lawrence at Clemson come in and win championship as a true freshman, and now you might be playing a freshman. Do you think kids are coming in more ready, and just kind of what's your confidence level seeing how this trend in football is going, where younger players are getting shots right away? I'm just kind of interested in that aspect of the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, our philosophy is this: if you can compete and you're ready to get through a 10-week season, because that's one of the things with the younger players that I don't know if they completely have embraced that, what it looks like playing in a top 10 team in your division every single week. Meaning, what does Saturday morning feel like? And that's one of the aspects we are. So we're real particular about that. We really test the player, but I think a lot of incoming freshmen, their expectation is to be a varsity football player their freshman year. Obviously, there's a difference between expectations and the reality of what that looks like. Ask these 3 seniors up there what it looks like from their mindset as a 9th grader. But yeah, I definitely have seen that trend, like play now, no freshman year. But for me, like freshman year has got to be, that's where you set your culture. That's where the kids become a team. That's where that class of 2020, and I'm just so blessed to have the guys here that I had as freshmen, and we built a team, and now here they are as a core group of leaders. But yeah, that's the trend. I know they're looking for it. They want it now, but with anything in life, it's not like microwave popcorn where you just plug it in, you get instant popcorn. Like there's got to be some resiliency and grit. There's got to be a process, because it's not just your ability, it's your mindset. And sometimes they're just not ready for it.
RJ, a question for you. As a defensive back, looking at St. John Bosco, they had former teammate Logan, and they have a great receiving core. Modern day's receiving core is great. What's it going to be like for you week in, week out, going against some of the best receivers in the nation? Are you excited for it? Are you nervous? What are your emotions heading into this season when a lot of pressure is going to be on you as one of the top players on this team?
Yeah, I'm excited for the competition that's coming our way, and especially for the other side corner, Brandon Hale probably, because we got transfers coming in. They won't be able to play the first 5 games, so I'm excited for him too. He was just like me last year, coming up, first year playing the position, going against the top receivers of the nation probably, and just going out with confidence and playing your heart out.
Any specific guys you're excited to go up against right now?
They're all good.
Yeah, they're all. I'm looking for all of them. Yeah, that's about it.
Sorry, that's the dad in me. The kick under the table.